Welcome back to this class. I think we can carry on from where we left last time. There's somebody whose mic is on. Kindly mute whoever it is. I think it's Justin. So only switch on your mic when necessary. Otherwise, just keep it muted. So as I was saying, we can carry on from where we left last time with our Expedia web application. We looked at how to do a lot of things like the uh, create, read, update, and delete operation. I think update and delete operations were not successful, but for the save we did, we looked at how we can create tabs, how we can create navigation, and that kind of stuff. So maybe just to walk us through that, just as a recap, because it's been quite a while. This is localhost. Then we have Expedia, and I think on Expedia we had done the login page where I put the username. I think it's admin. Password was Karibu. Or it was 12345. I'm not really sure what the password was. 123456. Well, that's strange. Mm, I can't really remember the password, and the challenge with that is that I can't also not be able to to change it. I can't read it, but let me see. How do we create our users? So this was localhost Expedia. I've just forgotten the password. I'll probably create a way of resetting it. Okay, that's not allowing me to do it. So there's a localhost Expedia. I just want us to go through what we had looked at last time. Uh, Localhost Expedia, and then there was supposed to be settings. Yeah, and the settings here is where we are now. We are done the homepage. We are done the navigation. We also looked at how we can create tabs, how we can create tables, how we can add records. I think that's what we covered last time. What was left, I think, was how to probably actually I think even edit we are done. The one what we had not done was basically how to do delete operations. Then we can be able to say that our CRUD operations are actually done, and then we can now be able to look at other things. I think that's what we looked at last. That's where we were at last. So today, I don't know if the edit is. I think the edit should be working. Let me try to Z. Yeah, the edit, we concluded the edit. So the only thing that was left was the delete. And you can see we had actually done a lot of things because we had even looked at how to use font awesome icons. You can see a couple of font awesome icons over here. So yeah, there is quite a lot that we have actually covered on this. So let's look at how we can do delete. So for delete operations, you realize that we need to confirm that we actually want to delete this record. Now, because I'm using Bootstrap, we just basically take advantage of that so that now we can see how we can prompt a user to confirm that they want to delete. And of course, we can use other things like we have Bootstrap confirm, or we also have Bootbox. So whatever is comfortable for you, though I prefer to use Bootbox because it's much easier. Though naturally you can create your own user interface, but sometimes it's totally unnecessary, especially once we have understood how we can be able to use these libraries that make our work a hell lot easier. So Bootstrap or Bootbox, let me use Bootbox. So you can go to Bootbox, but you can still use Bootstrap dialog. You can use Bootstrap dialog to be able to achieve this because the only thing you want to do is to ask the user, are you sure you want to delete? As simple as that. Then when they say yes, then you're good to go. So I'll go to Bootbox over here and I can come here and say I want to download it. Here. It's just a JavaScript file, not so much. Just like we've been downloading jQuery and the rest. So I'll open that. I'll copy this. And the only thing here I need is bootbox.js. This is the only file that I need. Or the modified version if you want the file to be really small. But again, this is a small, very small library, so I'll just pick it here. I'll come to my C. I'll come to my XAMPP 8. I'll come to my htdocs. Yours can be XAMPP. I have multiple versions of XAMPP. That's why I have XAMPP 8 and XAMPP 7. Then I'll come to Expedia. It starts with an X. Then inside here, well, I can create a folder that is called plugins. Like that is a plugin, for example. Then I'll paste it inside here, like that. So now I have my boot box there. So all my plugins, I can actually put them here. So what I'll do is I'll come back to my project. I'll come back to this is countries. So this is countries. That is the that's the model. I need the view. So I'll come to views, country, HTML. Then inside this country, I'll include that JavaScript file just before country.js. So I'll include script is it has a source, and I'll go inside module, inside not modules, but what they call them plugins. Then inside plugins, I'll take bootbox like that. So that's how you include bootbox in your file. So now how do we use it? So what you're going to do when somebody clicks on save, this is the person that takes place. Now, when somebody clicks on edit, when somebody clicks on edit, where do we have edit? Where do you have edit? Where do you have edit? I think I had this on a question here, so save. Okay. I think I had edit. Because edit is working, those people are joining are now becoming a bother. Let me just admit them just once. Next time I'll not accept that. So I'm trying to see where I added well, save countries here. Why is edit country? Edit is here. So where did I put the edit operation? Because I have countries edit. Oh, I think this one was under settings. Yeah, under settings here, under settings where I had it. Sorry, under settings where I'm saving the country. Then you can see I have edit. Here I'm listening to when somebody clicks on it. So basically what happens is that when I'm loading the data, we added two icons over here, one for editing, another one for deleting. So the one for editing has a class of edit, and that's why when you come down here, we listen to when somebody clicks on the countries table, and then whatever they've clicked on has a class of edit. This is called event delegation in jQuery because I'm using jQuery here rather than vanilla JavaScript. So you can use vanilla, you can use jQuery. It's all allowed so long as it's easier for you. So now let's look at how we can be able to actually implement the delete operation. So delete a country. So what I'm going to do here, because the country, this is going to be loaded inside the table. We never have it until it is created when the data is fetched by this function. So it is not part of the DOM when the DOM is loading. So it's never going to be there. So what we're going to do is we're going to listen to the table. When somebody clicks on the table and they click on something that has a class of delete, then you're going to respond to that. So we're going to take our table, then we listen to when you click on it, and then the element that has been clicked has a class of delete, then you're going to run the following function. Sorry, function. So in this function, so this function is where all the magic is going to happen. So ideally, what happens is I have bootbox and I want to check if you are able to, if you've confirmed with bootbox that you want to delete this item. So what happens when you want to delete an item? So I'll open our database here, SQL log. Then this is local, okay. I come to Expedia database for booking, and I'll come to delete country. So when you say delete country, you realize that we only need to provide the country ID. Then that should be it. So it means that in our operation, if you look at our current operation as far as country operation is concerned, if I say delete country, I only need to supply the country ID, then the country will be deleted, then that's basically it. So I'll come back here, and now what I'm going to do, actually under settings here, then what I'll do is simply declare a constant, which is country ID, which is what I need, country ID. This country ID will take the element that has been selected, then I'll get the closest data ID. I think it's data ID, so I'll get the closest data ID. That one will give me the country as you can see over here. So dot closest, because this is going to be closest, it's going to be a table division. I'm going to listen to a TR, then inside the TR I'll get data ID, something like that. Or you could simply say uh, attribute data ID. Some people like writing it like this, still allowed attribute, then they put here data ID. But I think writing data ID is nicer. Data ID like that. I think the other option where we simply say here data and then ID here, that works much better. This is an HTML5 feature and it works so well. So the only thing is here I need to confirm deletion via bootbox. Now I've implemented bootbox already. As you can see, I have put in the plugins here and I've loaded it as part of the page um, up here. Just hold on, just 1 second. Just a second. Hello. Yes, doc. Okay. Yes. Okay, so let's come to talk here. I think it's more central. Okay. Okay. Oh, sorry. I was speaking and my mic was on mute. Sorry about that. So, as I was saying, we need to confirm via, we have included bootbox as part of the files that we are going to use. So, okay, I think I need to add it here. Actually, on the footer, because bootbox can be used throughout. Let me add it on the footer.html here, and add bootbox here. So that should go under plugins. Then after plugin, we have bootbox like that. Yeah, so that should allow us to add bootbox as part of the footer file that we add, which means that it will be added on each and every page that calls this particular file. So yeah, that's one is already included. So the only other thing is now to confirm how to use bootbox. Now to use bootbox, just go to the website bootbox.com, bootboxdx.com. Then just look for examples here. And under these examples, just look for them that says confirm. Confirm is here. So you see when you say confirm and you run the example, you see, okay, that's not confirm. That's not confirm. I want to confirm. Dismiss using confirm is here. So when I run confirm, you can see I have yes or no, but also you might want a confirm with yeah. Actually I only need a confirm telling you are you sure you want to delete this, then you say yes or no, as simple as that. So again you can be able to run that as this. So what you're going to do is just copy this portion of code, then you're going to put your operation over here. So what I'm going to do here is copy this. This is what's going to allow me to be able to do that. So here I'll paste that portion of code. I would have written it by hand, but sometimes it's also good to show you how to work with some of these libraries. So bootbox.confirm, since you've already, so confirm will put a message and it will put two buttons, one for confirm, the other one for cancel. And of course, you can change the labels as appropriate. You can also change the classes. You can see confirm has a class of red. You can put icons and all that kind of thing, all those kind of things that we were doing with our user interface. So I'll simply ask you, are you sure you want to delete the country? So what I can do here is I can pick the country name, so that I ask you which name of the country do you want. So country name should be which column? Should be column number 0, column number 1. So that is column number 1. So column number 1. So I can simply say the closest here dot eq. Then I'll put tr. Then find table division with the first. Then you pick the text, not response text like that. Yeah. So that should be able to give me, yeah, because this one is repeated, you can see this one is repeated. We can just declare it as a variable up here, call it parent up here. So parent is equals to, sorry, sluggish today. So parent is equals to, then I'll pick this. We are using what you call dry pattern. Dry means don't repeat yourself, DRY. So that one goes there. Then instead of having this one, I simply say parent here, and I say here again parent. Okay, this will be parent. Then I'll say find the TD inside parent. So the first portion will be taken care of by the parent variable like that. So that way it's much easier. So here what I'm going to say is, are you sure you want to delete? Sorry. Here what I'm going to say, I'm going to use a template string and say, uh, you sure you want to delete country? Then I say country name like that. So this country name will be the name of the country, and I can make it bold so that it appears um, conspicuous like that. So that should ask me if I want to delete the name of the country. And of course, if I say yes, then this callback is going to be called. So I can say yes, but by there I can even add the class here. I can even add the function here. It's still actually allowed to add the function here. Sorry. It's still allowed to add the function here. But I like using callbacks instead. So I'll use the callback at the bottom here. I'll use the callback here. So this is going to be basically the result, what somebody has clicked. So now if somebody has clicked on cancel, or anyway, we can check what it gives us so that now we can be able to respond appropriately. So let's run that and see how that works out. So we can come to this program of ours, settings, refresh, actually press Control F5, just make sure everything loads. I'll come here, inspect, I'll come to console over here, I'll click on delete. You can see it's asking me, are you sure you want to delete the country? Uh, why it does not put the country name? It does not put the name of the country. That's strange. Country name. Dot find. Oh, I didn't tell it what to find. I need to find TD. Sorry, that was my mistake. Let's try that again. F5. Uh, press that. So you can see it asking me, do you want to lead Burundi? If I press that, you can see nothing happens. But if I click on this and I press no, you can see it is false. So if I click yes, you can see it is true. So when we can just come here and check if result is true, then we go ahead and delete it. So I'll remove that and I'll simply say if result is equals to true, then do this. Then there you go. We are just going to delete the element and refresh the list. It's as simple as that. So deleting the element will simply mean we do a post with jQuery and we tell country operations, of course. What do you want to do? You want to delete country and country ID is that, something like that. Then once we are done with that, if everything is successful, if everything is successful, you're going to be done. Otherwise, when it fails, we're going to have that. So that is just basically the logic. So if the result is true, then we're going to execute this part. If everything is successful, then this part is going to happen. So here we're just going to check that if is JSON data. This we had done last time, and if it is successful, um, we'll simply stop at that. Sorry, I don't know why the intelligence is a bit hazy today. Um, uh, Yeah, I think that's okay now. So if it is done, the data that comes back, if it is JSON, we'll convert to JSON and we check if the data is success. Then we'll remove it and say the count has been deleted successfully. Then of course we'll just refresh our list, countries list, because we want to be able to remove the country that has been just deleted. So we'll run get countries because that's the function that we had written before to allow us to get existing countries over here. You can see, so I'm trying to show you how we can actually do an application without repeating ourselves so many times. So something that we're going to do a couple of times, we write it as a function and we use the dry pattern. We don't repeat ourselves. Variables that we can be able to use, we can define them as variables. Like parent over here, you can see I had to call this twice, so I defined it as a variable. Then I cannot be able to use it several times. So, but ideally, it's basically how we will write the program, making sure that we are adhering to good programming practices. We make our code easier to read and very, very efficient because we are reusing components as much as we can, which is basically the whole idea behind visual programming. So again, this, if everything is fine, should allow us to be able to delete the country, output for us the success result message, and of course refresh the list once it is done. So what I've just included here is bootbox, and I've used the confirm operation of bootbox. I'll output a message, then I can tell it what kind of buttons to return, then of course the callback function to be executed once everything is done. And this callback function will be dependent on the results, whether somebody clicked true or false. Otherwise, if somebody just closed um, the the bootbox box, then nothing would happen. So let's see how that works out. So I just close this. I'll refresh my screen by pressing Control F5. Then I'll come here and I'll say delete. And if I say no, nothing happens. Otherwise, if I say yes, I should be able to see the country has been deleted and I'm no longer seeing here Burundi. And even if I refresh the list, you'll see that I don't have Burundi. If we were to go to our database over here and look at countries, you will see that Burundi has actually been. Um, where is it? Why am I not seeing countries? Expedia. Yeah, why is it? I thought it should have more fields than that. I thought it should have had more fields. Okay, okay, delete. I think delete country. What does it do? Wow, it actually deletes the country from the database. Okay, that is okay, but this is a very bad idea. I think I should have done a soft delete, but you get the idea. It actually has executed this, and I no longer have Burundi as a country inside my database, and that's why I can't see it over here. So that is how you do the event delegation. So this is actually event delegation. We had done it last time when we were looking at editing. So when somebody event delegation happens because we don't these elements are going to be created, these um, icons are going to be created later on in the future. They're not loaded together in the DOM. So if I was to use jQuery, like I'm using it right now, and the document becomes ready, it means these components are not going to be there, and that's why I cannot be able to click them. That's why I have to delegate those events. So it means that in the future, when the element has been created, I can't actually be able to respond to it. That's why I'm saying you listen to the countries table. When you click on it, look for something that has a class of edit, which means it's something that could be created into the future. And if you find that, then do the following. The same applies to when you click on delete, do the same thing. Then you've also looked at how to use variables over here. We've also seen how to use bootbox, and of course, the rest of the things is what we had done last time. So that concludes CRUD, or create, read, update, and delete operations, as far as our Expedia system is concerned. Now, the same should be replicated for all the elements that you're using inside your settings. So you can do the same for cities, you can do the same for airlines, you can do the same for currencies, you can do the same for um, um, uh, uh, when you set up what do you call it? When you set up the trips, you can set up the seats, you can set up the fares, and so forth and so forth. So all these things are going to be done at the back end. Whatever the user is going to see at the front is basically just to book for the flight, and basically that's it. Now, any question up to this point? Any question up to this point? You can raise your hand. You can type in the chat box, or you can unmute your mic. Then you can ask. Remember, these principles are very important. You need to understand them because you will actually use them when you're doing your project. So nobody's going to come to teach you how to write an application, how to connect it to your database, and probably how to pull data, how to push data, and so forth and so forth. So it's going to be important for us to be able to understand exactly how this works out. Okay? Any questions? Okay, so if there's no question, I think I only made one slight operation, and I think I need to change that. Now, I don't expect you to permanently delete data from your database like that. That is a very, very bad idea. That's the worst idea conceivable. So, what I'm going to do is inside country over here, over here, I'll come and add two extra columns. Say, I'll add here deleted. It will be a Boolean value with a default value of 0. Then it will have date deleted. There will be a timestamp and deleted by. That will be the user who deleted it. So I'll save that. So now that I have the deletion over there, I need to change a bit of the operation. So when it comes to delete country over here, I'm not going to say, I'm going to say country, then I'm going to say the user. Since I need to know who deleted the country. So instead of deleting this country like that, that's not a very good idea. I'll comment that. I'll simply say update this country. Then I'll say set. Then I'll set the deleted columns. So I'll say here deleted is equals to 1. The other column is date deleted is equals to the current date and time. And the person who deleted it is the user ID. Then I'll come here and say where the country ID is equals to the country ID that was specified. As simple as that. So you see now, this is not going to delete the country, but it's going to mark it for deletion, which means it's going to be in the database, but I also don't want it to display whenever I'm showing up countries. So I missed a semicolon here. So I'll just add that. So now that's perfect. Now the other thing I'm going to do will be to get countries. So get countries here. When I'm getting the countries, I'll simply add another filter here and say where c.deleted is equals 0. So where the country is not deleted, as simple as that. Then I update that. Then I can go back to my script or my setting, my country model and add the user ID. So I'll come to my model. Models are where? Here. I'll come to my country model and I'll come where I'm deleting the country. So where I'm deleting the country, I'll need to get the user who is logged in. So the user who is logged in would be this user ID. And of course, I need to enclose it inside curly brackets like that. This user ID is a global variable found inside DB here. This user ID, you can see it over there. And whenever we are creating our sessions, whenever a user is logged in, we're going to use the user ID. Otherwise, we're going to use one. So, but of course, this should be removed once the system is already active because all users will need to log in. So, for most cases, I'll use this one if I just want to test something very, very fast without actually logging on. So I'll come here. We'll test it again. Run this. We have countries over here. You can see it's still okay. So let's come to TZ over here. Say delete. Then say yes. You can see TZ has been deleted. It's no longer part of the list here. But now if I come back to the system, and this is how you should be able to handle the rest of the stuff. When I refresh this table, you'll find that I have a whole new columns. Now TZ, you can see here, it has been deleted and this is the time that was deleted and this is the person who deleted. So I can see TZ is inside my database but actually not on my user interface because I'm filtering where deleted is 0. So I'm not showing the ones that have been deleted. Otherwise, if I just wanted to restore that, I simply remove this one to be 0, then TZ will be restored back to my system. So you can see that's how this is how systems are built so that now you foolproof what the users could be able to do. So soft deletes are going to be an operation that we're going to use over and over again. Is that okay? I think that I've done quite a lot in terms of the CRUD operations in terms of how we create the user interface, the kind of user interface components we can be able to use. The rest of the things I think will be basically you to try and replicate what I have done. The same thing you should do for cities, airlines, currencies. You can do for You can do for flights. Because a flight will have several components. For example, it will have a country, it will have an airline, it will have a schedule, it will have a starting airport, it will have a destination airport, and so forth and so forth. So it will have number of seats, the classes of seats. So all those things that I'm mentioning, you need to add them as part of your as part of your your tabs over here so that you can be able to create them inside your database. Remember, I'm showing you how to actually move data into your database and out of your database using a user interface and not necessarily going into the database to add the records over there. The user will have to have a UI, something like this, where they can now be able to add records. Now, let me do one for cities so that I show you how we can be able to say, for example, pull countries, then maybe load the country so that you can now be able to use that principle for the rest of the application. So let's do cities. So for cities, we'll just create again. Did we count how many? We have not counted how many cities are in each country, but that's fine. We can probably do it later on. Again, as we're developing this system, you tend to realize that a few fields are left here and there, so you can't add them. So, but let's add cities. So for cities, we'll have the count, which is number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the country, the city, and of course, when it was added, who added it, and so forth and so forth. And I want to believe we have a model for city, which is here. It can allow us to check a city, to save a city, to get cities, to get city details, and also to delete a city where necessary. So that's perfect. So let's do that. And I think we also have under city operations, we also have those elements where we can be able to get cities. So that's perfect. That's actually good. So let's just do that. So what I'll do is I'll come to my user interface over here under settings, and I'll come to the cities tab because I have multiple tabs over here. So you can see I have the cities tab over here. So instead of having this cities tab, what I'll simply do is I'll put here for city notifications where I can display errors as far as the city is concerned. Sorry. So once I have city notifications, then I can create a table here with a class of table, then class of table small, table scrollable. Um, it's not table scrollable, but it is striped, striped, and also it has a hover. Then this table will have a T head, and each T head will have THs, and it will probably have 5 of them, if I'm not wrong, something like that. So I'll have count there. I'll have country name. I'll have city name. Date added by. Date added by. And I forgot to put my two icons. That is the one for edit and delete. So TH times 2. So this one is edit, non-breaking space. Just put a comment here. This is edit, and this other one is delete, like that. So now I have a table, but of course after T head I need to have T body, like that. Then after the table I need to add a button here at the bottom to allow me to add a new city, something like that. So when I run that and I come here and I run this again and I come to cities, you can see now I have that and I have a button here for adding a new city. So now I have countries, I can add a new country. Then I have cities where I can go ahead and add a new city. So now let's create a model for adding a city again because we're using Bootstrap. I'm using Bootstrap 4. You can use Bootstrap 5 if you want. By the way, it's out already. It has been actually out for quite some time. I think about a year and a half or so. I've not updated my code yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to look for model for Bootstrap 4, which is over here. And again, as I mentioned, sometimes you don't need to you don't need to write this code from the ground up. Just read what the model does. But I already have here a piece of code that will display for me a model similar to this. So I can just copy that and I paste it here. So I'll come here and I'll say this is model for city details. Model for city details. Then I'll put the model here. Then I'll just format it nicely, so that I know it starts, where it ends, and where each component is. So I'll just pump that in. Under content, that should be in. Then I have the header, which is here, so I'll say city details. Details. Then, of course, here, the button I don't want it to be secondary. I want the close one to be outline success, but I also want it to be small. And I also want it to be the second button, not the first one. So I just interchange them like that. So even for this one, I'll make it success and also make it a smaller button like that. Then I can give them icons. This one is, what did I miss out on here? Okay. So I can give them icons. Font awesome icon, font awesome solid, font awesome save, font awesome large. Then I can give a space there. Then I can repeat the same here. And I say this one is now times. The names of the fonts, you can get them from Font Awesome. So this one is, yeah, that's times. That's actually okay. Yeah, so I can try it again, see if it works out the way I had expected. Control F5, cities, add a new city here. Well, I've not told it to load the model. So model is called country details. So I'll come back to my settings here. I'll come back to my settings here. I can come to the bottom. Here I'll say uh, city operations. So I'll do a city operations equals city notifications. Then I also need add new city, add new city button for the add new city. Then the model for the city. So city details model will be, I think that's what I called it, but I think that's what I called it. So I'll come back to my settings and the model is called city details model. Okay. I think that's what I used. So the other thing is I'll need to do is when somebody clicks on add new city button, when they click on it, I'll run the following anonymous function. I'm going to use a fat arrow. Then I just show this model like that. So I need to push these ones a bit at the back like that. So that should allow us to be able to view the model for adding a city. Again, refresh that, come to cities, add new. You can see I have cities. So when I'm saying add city, I'll need to pick the country, then provide the city name. Okay. So that's the difference. So first of all, I'll load the country. So you pick a country, then you can now be able to provide the city name. So I'll come back to my settings over here, and this one will be city details. It should be city details model. City details model. Um, City details model. Yeah, I was displaying the wrong model again. Excuse me for that. So come to cities. Now this that looks like it hasn't refreshed. That is still displaying city details model. Let me see. Did I do the wrong thing? Model for city details. No, this should be country details. Then this other one should be city details. City details is here. ID equals city details model. Yeah, that's the correct position. Again, make sure your UI is okay. Usually you want to test that everything is working fine. Awesome. Now this is what I was expecting. Now this should not be green. It should actually be red. So let's just fix that. It's not success, it is outline danger. And then of course, now here, I'll need to load details for the country. So I'll simply say, uh, that is city detail location, okay, the city ID, okay, form group. Okay, so I have city name. Before I have city name, I can have another form group where I have the country. So first of all, I pick the country, select country. So after I select country, then I can provide the city name down here. So I'll close that div like that. So that should allow me to be able to load country. So let's just see if it works well. So again, I refresh that, come to cities, add new city. So you see, I'll be able to select country, then provide the city name, then I click on save. And if everything is fine, then I should be able to save the city. Now, this is the beauty of now using the commands that created. So for example, if I wanted to load the country, because the country can appear in multiple drop downs, I can simply write that as a function, then I call that particular function. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to come, I can come to my settings over here, but it's good thing to write them under functions because it's going to be universal. So if I come to functions over here, what I can do is write a function here that says function, that say get cities. Now this get cities, I will be asked for one thing. One first of them is the country name. Actually, let me first of all put the element, the object that I want to load the cities in. Once I have the object, the other thing I'll be asked is uh, uh, show all, whether show all or select one, which by default will be true. Then the other thing I'll be asked is the country ID, which I'll default to 0 if this is not provided, okay? So if these are not provided, show me all the countries. Otherwise, somebody might want to see only cities from a particular cities from a particular region. So this is an example of how you'd actually write a function and reuse it a million times, just getting cities for all the drop-down lists you want to have in your applications. Remember, I can repeat it inside settings. I go in the page where they are doing their flight bookings. I repeat the same code and I repeat it in several other places over and over again. But if I write as a function, I just need to call the function name, give the object that is being the city is being loaded to, decide if I'm showing show all or select one, and decide if I'm showing for all the countries or just for a specific country, and so forth and so forth. Because somebody might say, I want to come from Kenya, then give me the cities in Kenya. They say Nairobi, give me the airports in Nairobi, I give you Luton and maybe say JKI, something of that sort. Okay, so that's why I want to write as this. So here, the only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say that if, well, maybe I can say my results would be, and this one should be a let. Remember, we discussed what let and const and var do, the three of them. We discussed them in detail. But again, let's do results is equal, and I'll simply say if show all is true, then I'll say all cities. Otherwise, I will say choose one. So I'll say here option value 0, then I'll say select city, something of that sort. So if you don't say show all, then I'll say select a city. It means you have to pick one. If I say show all, then you'll pick all the cities. So it means that you want to see all the cities, something of the sort. Now, instead of using this, I'll simply put and less than that. So I have a greater than angle, and here I have and greater than that. So that should give me um, greater than and less than. Same applies here. You'll see how they look like in a short while. LT, and this one is GT, greater than. Well, you could try to type this, you could try to type that, but you realize that will not work out. That's why I'm using the HTML equivalent for it. Now, once I have that, The only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get JSON, and I'm going to go to controllers. I'm going to go to city operations, and I'm going to say get cities. Then I'll get country ID. Then once that data is done, I'll simply look through each one and every one of them and look the results. So city ID and city name. Then of course, if it fails, I'm going to console log error. Now this one, you're not supposed to have it like that. Just say this is the response. After the response, we have the status and we have the error. So this one will be response dot response text. So I just have put the text on the browser showing me what actually happened. So in any other case, then it's going to output this. Actually, this should be outputted here. Once it has looked through each and every element that has come in, um, this should come here. Should come there. Yeah, that would be better. So once I loop everything and this get JSON, okay, this one should be outside. Oh yeah, they can sit there, but I prefer them to be on the outside. Sorry, this one. Yeah, like that. So because this get JSON has three variables. The first variable is the URL, the second variable is the payload. The third variable could be the done function, but when we're checking if it is done so that we can be able to log in any errors that might have come. So now you can see with this one, now I can be able to get all the cities. So what I'm going to do is just copy this piece of code over here. We need to test if it is working. Copy this. What you're going to do is come to settings over here. Then you're going to say city country. So I'll simply say city country field. So here I'll simply say it is city country. So I'll remove that. Then I'll come to my settings here, and this one is city country. That should be it. I'll replace these ones as city country, something like that. So when I pick this name and I run it inside this variable city country, then everything else means I just need to run this and I'll say city country field. Show all will be false because I want to say select country and I want to display all the countries, so I don't need to provide this one. I could have said 0, but 0 is the default value, like that. So since 0 is the default value, I can actually omit it. It still work the same, but let me just put it, which means I want to display all the countries. So this means that this operation will get all the countries. Once it gets all the countries, it will populate them inside this particular field, which is what this function here is saying. So after you've gotten all the cities and you're done, look through each of the cities as far as index and item is concerned. Then for each item, simply pick the city ID and the city name and you're good to go. So the index is usually for counting which items, keeping track of which item we want. So maybe item 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, if you're displaying them as a table. But for this particular case, we will not need them. And by the way, you can actually leave it out because we've not used it in any area here. So it's not adding any value. So let's run that and see if it works. So we run this, we come to cities, we come to add new city and select country over here. I don't have my countries, so that's a bit of a problem. So let me check if there is an error with JavaScript. So I come to console and I'm seeing unconfirmed get cities is not defined. Get cities is actually defined. So what I need to do is to just refresh this screen, Control F5. So error fetching cities. So I didn't. Okay, response. This is response, not response. Response. Dot response text. Response. Response text. Okay. So let's see, why did it fail? Let's come to network. Let's come to city operations and then come to preview here. City operations does not have get cities. So we come to city operations and we saw it is filter cities, not get cities. So it is filter cities. So sometimes you need to be careful with how you call the function names. So come here and this should be filter. Instead of get here should be filter cities. Now let's go ahead, refresh that. City operations. Do we have data? We have data. Now they are okay. So if I come to cities here and I add new and I select city, actually I should not have selected cities. I should have gotten the countries. I should have get countries. So this is get countries, not cities. Get countries. Mistake. Countries. Like that. Get countries. So this should be country operations. Then country operations. So when you say get countries, it's here get countries. And I don't need to specify the city. So where's functions? See? So I don't need this country ID. What's going on here? Remove that. Then get countries. True. I don't need country ID. And then this is country ID and country name. So something like that. I think that should allow me to get the countries. So it was supposed to be get countries, not get cities. So get countries, I come to settings, get countries. And it doesn't need the country ID at the end. So let's try that again and see. So cities, add new, select countries. Did we get country operations? Yeah, we actually got all the countries. Why hasn't it loaded here? So let me see. I would have said functions here. While I could simply say here data, but for each, then I'll run anonymous function with the country here, and then I'll pick this here, and instead of using item, I use country. Then I need to remove that. I don't need that. Sorry, I don't need this question. Yeah, so that should allow me. So from here, I can just uh, console log the results so that I see what it contains before I actually load it. So object.html, so my object is here, the HTML should be the results, which will be okay. That should be, yeah, I think that should be good. Let's see if it works out. Control F5. I come to my console and looks like it's blank. That's strange. If I come to country operations, I actually have countries, number 1 to number 7. That's actually the response. So what is the issue? Because my console should have written for me what the countries are. Yeah, my console should have written what the countries are. Let me just debug that. And C, get countries is actually here. The object, is it the same object you're referring to? Settings, we are picking city country, city country. Come to my settings here, city country is actually there, and that's the city country field. Uh, false, well, yep, that looks okay. Let me just log data. That looks okay. Why is it not working? Console, log the data. Let's run it and see. Does the data reach the console? Our data is not reaching the console. So it means that this function is actually not running. But why? Why is it not running? Uh, that should be okay. It's done. Unless it fails, but it looks successful. Mm, what could be the issue? What could be the issue? Okay, results plus. Okay. Actually, everything here looks fine. I don't know why this doesn't seem to want to work. Let me just check the sources, functions. Function actually have get countries, and it's actually executing get countries, and actually getting back the countries. Hmm, I don't know why that's happening. Logically, this is okay. Logically, this is fine. Logically, this was fine. Logically, that is fine because that. Okay, let me try that. The data is not coming to the console. Why? The data is not coming to the console. I don't understand why that is the case. Okay. Let's just debug it slowly. Get countries. I'll simply say here console.log fetching countries. Let's see if if it tells us it's fetching the countries. It is not. That's strange. Why is that? Um, but actually, it's doing it in the background. This function has been executed and has ended. Okay. And the settings here get countries. This is being executed on its own. That is strange. Let me try it inside here. That is strange. Cities, add new network. It works, but why is it not loading it? Hmm. This is a strange error. This is a very strange error. Now let me just see. Uh, oh, it's because I have to get countries. I have two functions that says get country. There's this one and there's the other one. So that is the problem. That is the problem. Sorry, sorry, sorry. This will be get countries are stable. Okay, I should have said this as get countries are stable. Then these get countries are stable. Then also when I add a new country, when I save a new country, get countries are stable. And when I edit, I also get countries are stable if I need to. When I delete, get countries are stable. So I had to function with the same name but in different scopes. That's why it was refusing to work. Sorry about that. Again, you can see when you are writing code, these things happen. I think that should now be able to work out. When you're writing code, you tend to get these kinds of bugs. So now go in my console, you can see now I have the values that I was looking for. Now if I say add a new city, you can see now it asks me to pick a country. So when I pick a country like Kenya, then I can now say Nairobi, and I'm able to save Nairobi inside Kenya, and I'm good to go. So that's why it's very important sometimes for us to debug and see what the issue is. So my issue was I defined two variables with the same name, that is get country, but of course they were at different scopes. So from here, now of course, you can be able to do validation for say let's just do that. Let's just save the city. Then you can go to the other things like display the city name, edit the city, and even delete the city where necessary as far as our CRUD operations are concerned. So let's just save the city. So when I click on save, I need to validate that you've selected the country, you've selected the city. Then of course we simply save that and we give the notification up here. And of course we can be able to populate this list here that shows us the existing cities and countries. So when I'll say here sorry, save city button, then I'll have city name field, I'll have city ID field, the notifications are already there. Now, so here I'll simply say save the city. So here I'll simply say save city button. When you click on it, I'll declare these variables like that. Then once I declare those variables, so in short, what I'm trying to do, city ID will be there, city name will be from there, and country ID will be from there. So I'll simply check for blank fields over here, and I'll simply put my errors there, and I'll say if country ID is 0, then select country ID. Otherwise, if the city name is blank, select city name. Then of course, I'll simply check if errors is not blank. Then if errors is blank, I'll just go ahead and save. So if errors is not blank, which means it has something, it means that there was an error. So I'll simply say uh, city notifications, which is a variable here, display that alert. Otherwise, here I'll post and I'll put my controller city operations. I'll save the city. I'll put city ID, city and country like that. Then once I'm done, I'll get the data, and if the data is a JSON piece of object, I'll pass it, and of course I'll check the status. If city notification, if the status is successful, it was saved. I'll clear city fields. Then once I'm sorry, I'll clear city fields. Once I'm done, I'll if it's not JSON, of course there was an error that occurred, so I'll display the error nicely for you. And of course, if there was no other thing that happened, I can be able to close my tabs over here like that. So here I can go ahead and now clear my clear city fields. So clear city fields is a function that will clear the city fields and something like that. So city ID will be 0, city name will be blank, and country will be 0, which means choose a country. Then of course I'll set the focus on the city name. So this clear city fields is what I'm calling here. At the same time, quickly refresh the list from here. So refresh the cities list. I'll let this one as your to do task. So with that in mind, If everything is fine, this should allow me to be able to save the city and, of course, also give me errors as appropriate. So let's try and see if that actually works out. So Control F5, I'll refresh that. I'll come to cities over here. I'll say add new city and I'll click on save. You can see it's now displaying it at the wrong position. I need it to show up here. So yes, it is working, but it's showing it in the wrong position. So this should be city details notification, city details notifications. So I'll come to my settings here and I'll call this city details notification. That's what it is. And then, of course, now this other one should be that, like that. So again, you need to test your code every time you write it just to make sure that everything is working correctly. Add new, save. Now you can see, please select a country. If I pick a country like Kenya and I put blank, I'll save. I'll say enter city name. I'll put Nairobi and I click on save. City already exists as you can see, so that's good. Otherwise, if I put another city like Kisumu, see city already exists, so I need to put in a city that does not exist. I don't know if I put Mombasa already exists. Wajir, save successfully. So you can see actually my code works. Okay, so that is how we do operations. So what I was just trying to show you is how to populate data from the database into your user interface, and now you can be able to use that to work with that data over and over again. But most importantly, I have shown you how to write that as a function. So every time I want to say get cities, I simply say get countries. I simply say get countries. Then I specify where to populate that data inside the drop-down list. The function will do everything for me. This is very powerful because this countries thing is going to be used all over our application. When we are creating an airline, it has to belong to a particular country. When we are creating a flight, it has to have a destination, which is a country, and as there is destination and there is departure, which is a country, and destination, which is a country. So you can see this operation is actually something that's going to be used over and over again within your application. And the only thing you need to do is just say get countries, give you the drop down list where you want to populate, and specify how you want to, if you want to show all or if you want to tell the user to choose one. That's the only option that you provide. So I think I'll take my break at that. Now what you're going to do on your side is probably figure out how to populate the cities inside this list, then of course how to do edit and delete so that you align with making sure that you have understood the principle. You could do the same for airline, you can do the same for currency, you can add another one for flights, you can add another one for bookings, and so forth and so forth. So that is something that you should be able now to do confidently moving forward. Any question up to that point? If there is any question up to that point, you can let me know, then I can be able to answer that. Otherwise, I think if there's no question, we'll take a break at that, then we can carry on next time. When we have our next class, we should be able to do our cut in our next class. When is the next class? Class rep, Ryan?
The next lesson is tomorrow.
Tomorrow. So let's do our cut
Yes.
tomorrow. Let's do our cut. We'll do our cut tomorrow. It's going to take only 1 hour. Then maybe you can use. But that means that tomorrow's class has to be physical. Okay.
Okay.
What time is it? Ryan or anybody else?
Let me confirm.
Okay, just send it to me on text so that I can make sure I have the cuts printed on time. Okay. So if there's no question, I think we'll take a break at that. Then you can be able to move on tomorrow.
It's on Wednesday from 11 to 1.
11 from Wednesday to 1. So we can have our cut from 11 to 12, then we can continue the class. Is that okay?
Yeah, on Wednesday.
Okay, so no problem. Then let's meet on Wednesday in case there is no question, okay?
Okay.
Okay, have a good day. Actually, still morning. Have a wonderful morning. We'll talk again on Wednesday.